This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Today, guys, is a special day because it is the first time I'm ever purchasing someone else's Pokemon collection, and in this case, it's super unique. As you can tell by the title, I have gone ahead and actually bought a Pokemon collection from a abandoned Japanese home. That is right. One of my friends, shout out to Jake, actually works with a company that purchases abandoned Japanese homes. And in this case, the person that lived there actually had a ton of nerdy collectibles, including cards. Now, Jake knows that I actually, I run a card shop. I actually collect. So they reached out to me. They said if I'd be interested. And of course, I said yes. Now, I want to preface this by saying that we did actually reach out to the previous owner and see if they wanted to keep these cards because obviously these are their possessions. And we said, hey, we'd love to give them back to you because these might be worth something. Surprisingly, they actually ended up saying no. They just were not interested at all and would rather just get rid of them. They told us to throw them in the trash, if anything. So we said, fine, no worries. We'll go ahead and just keep them ourselves. And this is where I am today. This is the entire batch of cards. Now, this is not the full, complete list. Aki Dearest, which is another YouTuber, she bought a couple of them. And I bought the rest of them. I bought a huge set of bulk, and I kind of wanted to share it with you guys. So today, let's go over this entire collection and see what's inside, because some things in here are crazy. Things that you would never even see in English releases. Some of these are so vintage. I mean, it's before even I was born. And I was born in 1997. I'm old. So let's jump into it and see what we've got. Now, before we jump into it, guys, I want to say a huge shout out to the sponsor of the video, and that is Squarespace. Whether you're looking to set up a website to show off your Pokemon card collection, start a blog to share your travel adventures, or even build an online store to sell your own merch, Squarespace has all the tools you need to make it happen. Their all-in-one platform is super intuitive, no coding required. And you can start with one of their beautifully designed templates, add your own images and text, and you're good to go. And let's be honest, building your own website should not be a headache. Squarespace drag and drop tools make it easy to customize, plus they offer everything from email campaigns to analytics so you can track how your site is performing. And you can really build something that stands out, just like the Pokemon Card Lounge does in the heart of Shibuya. Don't forget about the introduction of design intelligence from Squarespace, combining 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI tech to unlock your strongest creative potential. This helps build a more beautiful, personalized website tailored to your unique needs and crafts a digital identity to use across your entire online presence. So if you're ready to take your online presence to the next level, head to squarespace.com and use code AlxAce at checkout for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. So let's take a quick look at our bulk of other TCGs, because the owner or the, whoever lived here clearly was a card collector, which I think is awesome. Now, the next thing that I thought was super dope that I didn't even know existed is Square Enix's Dragon Quest, and they had vintage cards. So there's a ton of cards here, and it's a Dragon Quest TCG that I didn't even know was a thing. Now, a ton of these cards are in actually not too bad a shape. I would say somewhere from lightly to heavily played. But yeah, some of these cards, I have no idea if their value is high or low. I don't think, in this condition, you probably aren't going to see a massive value in terms of, people wanting to buy them for the most part. But I still think it's super cool to see Dragon Quest, one of my favorite game franchises, actually. I play all the games, especially on the PlayStation 2, seeing this sort of TCG here. Again, if any of you guys are experts, let me know in the comments down below if any of these are worth something or if they're cool. What would you think? But I think it's just cool to see Dragon Quest have its own TCG back from most likely the early 2000s, early 90s, actually. And there's so much more to go, and the next huge batch of cards is something that I didn't expect. If you guys are fans of an anime called Shaman King, well, this guy, he definitely was as well, because I have a huge stack of Shaman King cards. Shaman King, really great anime, apparently had a TCG that I had no idea it existed. And yeah, there's a lot of these cards. I would actually say these are in some of the best shape and lightly played to moderately played. There are still some heavily played damaged cards, but not too bad for the most part. Again, no idea about value. Who knows? I might have a card in here that's worth $100. I mean, I somehow doubt it. Most of these cards are probably around from the 2003, 2004 era. But yeah, there you go. Shaman King cards, pretty cool. Don't know what to do with them. I think it's just cool to have cards from such an old era, which is dope, because they still do make Shaman King cards sometimes for other, series like Card Fight Vanguard. So, I think it's just cool to have one of their first ever card sets. And of course, these, I know these, and these I'm keeping for myself. Sorry to any collectors who are trying to buy these from me. One Piece cards. There's actually 2 different sets, 2 completely different TCGs here, and we got both of them. So tons of awesome retro One Piece cards. You can tell they're really old because they're from before the time skip, which I think is really funny. So you're seeing a bunch of cards here that are pre-time skip, which means they're pretty old. Again, not too sure about these or where they came from. I probably could look this up, but I'm lazy, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to appreciate the collection and just see how these cards look. Some of these are incredibly cool, though. I can tell they would probably be printed with Topps or Panini if they were ever English ran, but a lot of these are probably Japanese exclusive. But of course, let me know, do you guys think these are worth anything? What do you know about these? Let me know in the comments. So we got some awesome One Piece cards, but you might be wondering what is next. And something that was interesting is that we had some binders. And not just any binders, these were little mini binders for an anime that is super old called Zatch Bell. So if you guys have no idea what Zatch Bell is, it's a really, really old anime that came out in the early 2000s. So we have some Zatch Bell cards here. Again, don't know the value of these. I didn't really check. I think, again, most of these are lightly played to heavily played, so there's not going to be much value at all. But I think it's really cool that these binders are very, if you know about the anime, they have these books, and that's how they, have these characters fight for them. So at least I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't watched Zatch Bell in quite literally 2 decades, so I don't really remember. But these binders for the cards, they look like the actual books in the show, which is pretty cool. We also had some random baseball cards. I don't really know anything about, sports cards, which I should probably get into because there's a huge market for it. But some Japanese baseball cards probably has little to no value because, Japanese, I don't think most of these cards would really sell in these states, but it's interesting nevertheless. Now for the 2 big TCGs that I was interested in, and that is Yu-Gi-Oh!, which there was quite a few Yu-Gi-Oh! Bulk and Bandai cards, which are a beta card of the original release, which we have a huge stack of them, which is really cool. And of course, Pokemon cards, which we found out that the owner had actually been quite a massive Pokemon collector, and we have a ton to go through. So obviously for generic Pokemon cards, there's a ton of base set to Neo cards. That is sort of the era they were collecting from. So pretty much the very beginning of Pokemon cards is when they were collecting. So as you can see, we have a ton of bulk cards and some holos. So we have quite a few holos. Some of them are in pretty good condition and some of them are in not so great condition. But some of the great standouts is like this Light Arcanine. There's 2 of them. We have this Rocket Caesar. Some really awesome bangers. We even found this Gengar from Mysterious Mountains, which is, I think in English, the Expedition series. So really great, awesome, amazing cards. Some of these have value and, naturally these are lightly to heavily played, so you're not going to see amazing prices for them. But if they were in mint condition, some of these go for hundreds of dollars. In this case, not so much, but I think it's cool that we still have them. Now, the interesting thing that he collected was the weird random products, because we have here Meiji promos, which is a chocolate brand, I think, in Japan, and they made Pokemon cards. Similar to Topps or, Panini cards in these states, they had these Meiji ones. So really cool, just, Pokemon art. I don't know if these were playable in some sort of game or something. I don't really know. But we have some pretty dope ones like Blastoise here. We have some of the legendary birds and just a couple other extra ones. I don't really know what to do with these. Who knows? I might get some graded. That might be a part 2 to this video if you guys want me to do that, where we get a bunch of these cards graded. And up next, we actually have some that might be familiar to you guys, which is, I don't know what they're called here, but in America, these were Topps cards, which is just screenshots of the show, but in card form. And, obviously, if you watch the show, this is super nostalgic, especially for me, to see all of these, little screenshots of the show that I grew up watching. So it was really cool to see these in person and actually now have them in my collection. Funnily enough, the most expensive card I think we have found in the entire collection is this Misty card here. This Misty card actually goes for quite a bit for some reason. This one is in moderately played condition, so I don't know if it would go for the exact same, but I do think it's kind of weird and random that this is one of the most expensive cards. Now, we still have some more to go to because next up we have Thompson cards, which is, again, a weird beta Pokemon card. Or alpha even. These were very, very early before the actual cards came out in the States, or even the first ever sets in Japan too. And we have quite a few of them. So these are all just Gen 1 Pokemon, and we actually ended up even getting the Charizard, which is super cool. So I think this one I might actually send to get graded, even though it is in pretty bad condition, I'm not gonna lie. It'll just be cool to get it slabbed up and get it properly protected, because these cards are super fragile. Like, they're made out of like paper. Like, it's weird, but we got them protected. We got them top loaded. Just so you know, when we found them, they were wrapped in like rubber bands. So thankfully we have them protected now. But besides that, we also found some really cool Pokemon Stadium cards. So these cards ended up coming with Pokemon Stadium, the Nintendo 64 release in Japan, and some of these are holos. So we have here like a Mewtwo one, a Charizard one. These are really dope cards. I have no idea where they would be even found in the States. So again, really rare, random cards that you would pretty much never ever find in the States. I have them here in this collection. Not to mention, we also have Cardadas, I don't really know how to pronounce it, a bunch of these cards as well, which has some super unique artwork of Pokemon, and some of that you would never even expect, like a Ditto that's transforming into the starters, an Electro that's exploding, a Slowpoke getting absolutely just destroyed by random Pokemon. It's pretty funny, but these cards are some of my favorite just because the art is so cool. So just a massive shout out to my friends who actually gave me the opportunity to buy this collection. If you guys are curious about the price, I ended up paying around $600 to $700 for everything here. And I'm hoping that we can actually end up making a profit at some point, because I do want to get some of these graded, and then they'll be put up on the shop. So hopefully we can do that. I'm really looking forward to actually seeing what those end up getting graded as. So if you want to see a part 2 where you see what I send in and what I got back, let me know in the comments down below, because we will do that. And it'll be super cool to see. DM me on Instagram. I'm always buying collections, or you can send us an email in the description below. We have a card shop email. So send us an email if you are selling a collection or interested in buying anything. Let me know in the comments. But really cool. Such an amazing story that these cards were properly taken care of back in the early 2000s here in Japan. And now they're going to a home, which is cool, because I think originally the previous owner was just looking to throw them all away. So, I mean, it's cool. You know, if you're a TCG player like me, I think these are cool. If you have no idea what TCGs are, you might think this is random and has, you know, it means nothing. It's just cardboard, whatever. But I think it's cool that these TCGs, you know, they tell a story, and it's cool to see that they were around back then. And to this day, we can sort of still have these as like a relative history, kind of. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. That is the abandoned Pokemon collection that I've ended up purchasing, and this is technically a part 1. So I will see you guys in maybe part 2, where we get grades back for some of the cards we send in, because obviously there are thousands of cards here. Couldn't show them all in one video, otherwise this would be a 5-hour video, but hopefully we can get some awesome grades back, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you guys are new, and goodbye.